Hi, good evening, all. This is SK. I have got so many emails. I often mention in Twitter that I'm going long with second entry, or the pullback, or the breakout watch. So what I thought today is, like from today, I will be making a bar by bar recap of the day, so that whatever positions I have taken or whatever I'm looking into it, I can share those things with you guys. Today, when the market opened, 5 minute chart, we saw this kind of a sell-off, and the tail here, you see tail here. Honestly, I was not prepared for mentally. I had a block that that we are going short. That's a human thing. We can control as much emotions as we can, but at the end of the day, I was more biased towards bullishness. So I could not take this shot, and I was looking for the entry on this thing here. But if you see in first 10 bars, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, first 10 bars there is only one bull bar. So it was a great shot. If you would not have a mindset of a bullish pattern, you would have made good money in this as well. This was the trend line from, if you see my 4 hour, uh, from 4 hour, I had this trend line drawn. We were here, this is the time. I had this trend line drawn, and I was thinking that we can pull back to this trend line, but I was not expecting to see 187 today and bounce back. This was like a worst scenario for me, like this bounce. But we did see that. That's why there's always probabilities in the market. I did good. I end up very, very good. But it's always again a probability what we are looking into the market. So over here, first we saw the first 10 bars, which are bearish. This bull bar is not a buy. This bull bar is a short covering from the sellers, and going long here needs a long stop. And we also have, this is the 187 is the bear target. The bears are trying to reach the target, whatever the pattern is, whatever the path is, they will be reaching here. This is the entry when I mentioned, I will be going second leg up. I bought this guy here. This is the second entry long. This was the first entry long. Here we saw tail. We saw, this is the final flag, and this is the tail here, and this is the long. After this I had a pre-order. I put a limit order here, above tick or two ticks on even if futures, and I got filled. And if you see 1 2 3 4 5, anytime there are consecutive three bars, three bull bars or three bear bars, we often see a little bit more price towards the same direction. So we saw five bull bars here. This was the pullback. This was again a second entry long. This was the from here it was a second entry long. This second entry is long from this entry here. So again we saw the second entry long. We saw the tail bouncing from the trend line. I was long here as well. I mentioned on the Twitter account as well. We took the high of the breakout over here. We saw some kind of a pullback. This price section here, if you see, this was the price section where I was not looking into much trading. This guy here, this was a very confused price action. I did not trade much in this area. Any which ways, from 11 to 12, the market gets into a napping mode, where everything looks so prominent. Like this sell off here looks like we're going for the next leg down, but we didn't go that far. This guy looks like okay, we are getting a bull trend, three bull bars, and we saw the pullback. So anywhere from 11:30 to this is the time when market most of the time time deceive the traders, and like whatever we have earned, whatever we have made, we tend to lose. At the end, if you see, we saw some kind of a bounce here with the volume, like we were bouncing from this base, it's making a lower high here. From the lower high, this is the pullback. The pullback, very important thing, this pullback here is not 50% pullback from the breakout. And this thing here, whoever was shorting this guy here, let me delete this guy, because I did traded this, so we had this trend line here. So in this trend line, we were thinking, we are going more down, and this big bar, gapping up, this is not the buying. This is buying as well as short covering. Like there are many traders, like who might have shorted here, like who shorted here, but we didn't saw the follow through on this. This is again for the bears. This is the first entry, but we didn't saw the follow through, and we saw this kind of a breakout. With the breakout, we saw this tail. Most of the times when the breakout is so strong, we saw this pullback. Pullback has tails, indecision candles, and we go for next leg up. This here, I shorted the market here today. This was the third push up. 1, 2, 3. It's a final flag, final flag, and we saw the pullback. So basically, overall, I do not trade last hours. Like I tend not to trade last hours because they are very confusing, and I get tired. I'm not that fresh, but I'm fresh in the morning. But today I plan to trade in most of the days. Like if you go back here, we see over here, if you see, this is the pullback, like this pullback, this is the sell-off, we saw bounce, and this is the second entry. With the second entry, we saw some kind of a, about 2 to 3 point gain. We go back, we tried a lot here, like it was, every second entry was failing here. Over here again, like bears were failing. We saw this bounce, but they were not able to take high of the day. So we start seeing this kind of a sell-off, like after 1 o'clock. Most of the times what we do here is, like we have the high of the day, we draw this trend line, like, and we have a low of the day. You see, like every time what they are doing is, they're trying to poke through the trend line and bouncing back, trying to poke through the trend line and bouncing back. You can go this far. So all day, like it was just trying to trade and go to the base of the trend line, go to the base of the trend line. So these are the patterns which are one directional. There is nothing much to do. They just trade to the same side again and again and again. Let's go here. Let's see here. I mean, if you see here, like when we do not have consecutive bear bars, I mean 3 bear bars or three bull bars, this is that day we see a trading range price action from the start. This is like, bear bar, then bull bar, bear bar, bull bar, dodgy bar, bear bar, bull bar, bull bar. So in this kind of a time, like you're often make money by limit orders, or like collecting 1 point, 2 point, whatever you can do, buying low, selling high, buying low. Either way you can make money in this kind of a price action. So bar by bar here, like if you see, it's very, there are very few things which I trade. I trade breakouts, and I trade second entries. Most of the time these are the two patterns. I only look for second entry long or second entry short, or I look for the breakout. Like this is the breakout. We were looking for the breakout. This breakout, bears were trying to break out. This is the bull candle, this is a bear. It was a very confusing time here, like it was not sure, but the main support we had was about 187. So two patterns we learned, like one is second entry long, which means after a breakout, after a long trend, after a trend, when we see first bull bar, we go with the second bull bar. If we see a shot, like we don't go shot with first, what you call it, a bear bar. We go with the second bear bar. So over here, if you see with this tail here, we tried to break to the upside, but we saw this sell off. From this sell off, this is the breaking point because bulls were buying here. Then we saw this sell off. If you see this trend line, we have it from the back. And we saw some kind of a bounce here, but sell off. This trend line we took sell off. So it was a very aggressive selling. I was not ready. Those who were ready, they made really good money out of it. So two patterns. One is second entry long, and the other one is breakout. Thank you. Bye bye.